We're going to talk today about the safety for the drill press. The drill press is a machine that spins very quickly, and we've got the potential for a lot of injury here. So don't let this be a machine that we don't take seriously because maybe you have one at home or you've used one before. I've seen drill bits break and really send shards flying throughout shop. So make sure you've got your safety glasses on and you're giving it your full attention. We want to make sure on the drill press that our hands are never closer than 3 inches to the cutter head. That's about where we should have our guard placed, is about 3 inches away. That way we know if our hands are getting close, we can move them if they hit the guard. Number two, the larger the drill bit, the slower the feed rate needs to be. Which means that if I am cutting with a really big, wide drill bit, like this, a hole saw, I need to move this slower. I don't want to move it faster. It's cutting quite a bit more, and so we need to give it some time to catch up. So I never want to see somebody back here ramming this down through whatever piece it is that you're cutting out. Number three, drilling holes too quickly will break the drill bit. Drilling holes too slow will dull the drill bit because it creates excessive heat. So we got to make sure we find that happy medium. We don't need to break drill bits, and the larger the drill bit, like we've got a 1/2 inch drill bit in there right now, that's going to be pretty difficult to break no matter how fast we go. But really on the smaller drill bits, we got to be careful about how hard and fast we're pushing down on the piece of wood, so we're not going to break our bit. Number four, be sure that all loose clothing and long hair is tied back. You don't want anything getting wrapped up in a drill press, maybe more than anything, because most of these other tools will just cut whatever it is that gets wrapped up into it. This could pull your head down into the bit, which would be a bad deal for everybody. Number five, don't drill into the support table. You will almost always have a scrap piece of wood as a backer block there. We can drill into this, but we want to make sure that our drill bit, if we move it, is lined up with the hole so that we're not making extra holes into the steel. Number six, to prevent excessive tear out, have a scrap piece of wood underneath the material that you are drilling. If we don't have a scrap piece of material under here and we just have the hole in the table, it's going to blow out the backside of the hole, meaning that there's going to be splinters and shards back there, and we don't want that. So we always have a scrap of wood here. That way when I drill my hole, if we look here, this middle hole was drilled without a backup block, meaning we just let the drill bit go through the hole. That tears it out, but this one was done with a backup block, and that's going to prevent the tear out with this backup block. That backs up the cut so it can't tear out so bad. So we always want to have this scrap of wood underneath of the material that we're going to cut so we don't have an excessive tear out. Number seven, always remove the chuck key after changing the drill bit. Our chuck key has a spring-loaded tip on it that prevents us from leaving it in. So I am going to loosen this real quick. And there's our drill bit. So this is called a keyed chuck, which means that I have to put this in and then tighten the bit in. But when I'm done, I don't want to leave that chuck key in. This chuck key should come out with that spring-loaded tip. That does prevent me from being able to leave it in because it should just fall right out. We've got lots of different types of chucks on our drill bits. In our class, we have handheld drills that have a very similar chuck. This is just like that keyed chuck, except that it's got a hand part here that I can tighten a bit in. That just opens and closes by spinning. And I can put a twist drill bit in, like what's in here. I could put a hole saw, like this, in here. This is very versatile. Or I could put a screw drilling bit in and give it a tighten. I also have an impact driver with a collar, not really even a chuck. And to change the bit, I just slide that open. And some of these I can just push in, and that stays in. Otherwise, I just have to slide that bit forward, and that locks it in. But this has to have that special end on it. I can't take a regular twist drill bit and jam that into the impact driver. So never leave that chuck key in there. That becomes a projectile when the machine gets turned back on. Number eight, when drilling holes larger than 1/2 inch, make sure you clamp the board down. So if I was going to use a hole saw like this, I would find a clamp and clamp my workpiece down because the bigger diameter bits have a tendency of whipping the board around. Number 9 is really important to prevent heat. When drilling deep holes, be sure to back out of the cut several times to clear the hole of excessive sawdust. So if I'm going to drill a real deep hole, I'm going to drill a little bit and then back out. Drill a little bit and back out. Drill a little bit and back out. I don't want to jam all those wood chips down in that hole. That's what creates the heat and wrecks our drill bits because they lose their temper. Number 10, if the drill bit gets stuck in the piece of wood, turn off the power. So if as I'm drilling here, see if that gets stuck in there like that, turn the power off, and then you can grab the chuck and spin it backwards, and that will fall right off. Let's drill a hole together. You'll notice on this drill press, there is a laser that gives me the center, and there's a light. Make sure that these get turned off when we're done with it because the power switch is independent from those, and we don't want to burn them out. So it's kind of nice. I can use that X to find where I want my hole to be. Now I'm going to hold the book in place. Drill my hole and turn it off. And we've got a beautiful hole in our drill, in our board.